Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, where today I'll be taking you through the step-by-step process of servicing the cooling system of my PC. In this video, we'll be focusing on servicing the cooling system of the HP OMEN 15-DC model specifically. As you can see on your screen, these are the tools I'll use during service. In order to make it easier for you, I've provided links to some of the important ones in the video description below, so you can easily access them if needed. So, without further ado, let's jump into the next section. Okay, let's dive into the disassembly process of this PC. First, close the laptop slit and flip the laptop so that the back cover faces up. Open up the two screws located between the ventilation mesh on the back cover. These are the longest screws among others. Open up the rest 6 small screws located on the side edges of the back cover. Grab something like a guitar pick. In this video, since I didn't have guitar pick, I used plastic blade, and insert this plastic blade or guitar pick into the gap between the back cover and front covers. Find the largest gap and insert the plastic blade into the gap. The snap fit joints connecting the back cover to the front cover can be easily released by twisting the guitar pick or plastic blade. Peel off the black shielding cover on the cooling pipes and place it somewhere safe for reuse. Remove the battery by opening up the 4 screws on the top side of the battery. For removing the battery, lift up the top side and pull toward the fans, and it will be popped out. Remove the heat-resistant tapes on the top side of the fans. The purpose of these tapes is to direct the airflow toward the fins on the cooling system. And since they are exposed to high temperature surfaces, they are needed to be heat resistant. Now it's time to open up the screws of the fans shields. There are 3 screws per fan shield. There are 4 screws holding the plastic mesh on the back side of the PC in its position. Open up those 4 screws as well. Both back mesh and the fan's shields can be removed together by gently lifting from the fan's shield side and pushing toward the top. There are two more screws holding the fan in its position. Open up those two screws as well. For the fan on the right hand side, there is one additional screw holding both fan and SSD memory in their position. Open up that screw as well. Unplug the SSD memory and remove it. Now the right hand side fan can be easily lifted up and pulled down in order to be removed. Don't forget to unplug the power cable of the fan from the motherboard. Do visual inspection on the fan and its blades and search for any dust accumulation on the blades. Usually this dirt and dust on the blades can be removed by the compressed air. Repeat the process for the left hand side fan with the difference that the left hand side fan has a flex cable going around the fan. Gently untangle this flex cable and unplug it from the motherboard. And then you can apply similar process of the right hand side fan for the left hand side fan. First, remove the screws of the fan's shield. And then open up the 4 screws of the plastic back cover. And then similarly, both fan shield and back plastic cover or back mesh can be removed together by gently lifting from the fan side and pushing toward top. don't forget to unplug the power cable of the fan from the motherboard. Now it's time to remove the heatsink. 8 screws hold the heatsink in its place. 4 screws hold the heatsink on the CPU side, and 4 screws hold the heatsink on the GPU side. Open up these 8 screws. And gently lift the heatsink. Notice that how thermal paste spreads over the processing units. Notice that how the fluffy dust is accumulated close to the heatsink fins. This can directly affect the performance of the fins in the heatsink. In this particular PC, the CPU is located on the right hand side and the GPU is located on the left hand side. Grab a cotton pad and soak it with EPA and gently rub the surface of the processing units to remove the thermal paste and any other residues on the processing unit surfaces. Once you see clear and shiny surface of the processing units, it's perfectly fine. To make sure that there is no any dust on the processing unit, you can use compressed air to remove any dust and or particles from the motherboard. Similarly, soak the cotton pad and rub it over the surfaces of the heatsink at the location of the GPU and CPU processing units, and remove the thermal paste from the heatsink. Grab the thermal paste and apply it over the surfaces of the processing units, both GPU and CPU. I use a line pattern for applying the thermal paste over the processing units. Draw a line along the longest side of each processing unit. Grab the heatsink and check if it is completely clean and free of dust, and gently put it over the processing unit in its position. Make sure that it is completely aligned with respect to the position of the processing units. Once you place the heatsink, gently press it at the location of the processing units, both GPU and CPU. That way you will help the thermal paste to spread and cover the whole surface of the processing units. Once you press the heatsink, make sure that you do not lift it up again. Otherwise, air pockets may form in the thermal paste, and they will significantly reduce the efficiency of the thermal paste. For fastening the screws, try to apply crisscross pattern so that you will apply the uniform load over the heatsink, and as a result the thermal paste will spread and press uniformly over the processing unit. Grab the left hand side fan and put it in its position. Secure it using the two screws at the locations shown in this video. Do the same for the right hand side fan, and again secure its position with the two screws shown in this video. Make sure that you plug in the power cables of the fans into the motherboard. Grab the black plastic back cover and the fans guard for the left hand side of the PC. First, the black plastic back cover is needed to be positioned in its place. It should be a little tilted so that we can mount the fans guard on it, and then together we can fasten and secure their position with respect to the chases of the laptop. It is a little tricky process, so take your time and do not rush when you are fastening these two parts. Do the same process for the right hand side. For the left hand side, don't forget to pass the flex cable through the fans guard. Otherwise, you cannot fasten the fans guard and fix its position with respect to the laptop's chases. For the right hand side, don't forget to place the SSD memory in its position. Now it's time to secure the position of the SSD together with the fans guards and black back plastic mesh in their positions by fastening the screws. As I said, don't forget to tangle the flex cable for the left hand side, put it in its place and plug in it to the motherboard. For the black back cover, there are two flat Phillips screws that are needed to be placed in the middle of the part, both for left hand side and right hand side. So make sure that you are using the right screws for this part. Rotate the fan blades to make sure that they can freely operate. Now it's time to place the battery in its position. Slide the battery from the bottom side and press its top side to plug in it into the motherboard. Afterwards, you can fasten the 4 screws on the top side of the battery. Attach the black cover sheet and make sure that it covers the RAM of the PC. Now it's time to cover the gaps on the heatsink with the heat-resistant tapes. As I said earlier in this video, the purpose of these heat-resistant tapes is to make sure that there is no leakage of the airflow in the heatsink area, so that we can almost make sure that the air flows over the fins only, nowhere else. These gaps are available at both sides, so make sure that you do the process for both left hand side and right hand side of the cooling system. Now everything looks good and it's time to close the back cover of the laptop. Align the position of the back cover and gently press it so that the snap fit joints will lock the position of the back cover in its place. Of course, at the end we need to fasten the screws There were two long screws for the top middle of the back cover, and 6 smaller screws for the edges or the sides of the back cover. So make sure that you are using the correct screws for different positions. Now open up the laptop's lid and turn it on. It may require to turn on the laptop several times because previously we unplugged the battery, and the motherboard requires some initialization. So don't worry if your laptop requires this process several times. Usually for the first 2 trials you will not see anything on the screen, but after these 2 trials you will see some prompts. Just follow the prompts on the screen and you will be perfectly fine, and your laptop will work as usual. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with your friends and giving it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. We appreciate your support.